What's up, everybody? It's been a busy evening for me getting things ready for the card show tomorrow, so that's part of why I wasn't pressing maybe as hard as I normally would have to try to get things moving, because I was just busy with stuff. But we sort of reached a point there about 20 minutes ago where I thought, shoot, I don't know if this is going to fill or not. And, I got to be up at about 5:30 in the morning, so I started thinking, man, I better make a decision here one way or another what we're doing. And so I thought, well, we're just going to go ahead and say we're going to do this thing. so that everybody could plan accordingly. So appreciate everybody that filled the duck race. I know I did that a little bit differently with the dollar spots, but just like normal, I just like to change things up, keep it different, fresh, whatever. So, all right. I'm not going to try to drag my feet too late because, like I said, I got to be up at 5:30 in the morning for for a pretty big card show. So I'm not going to mess around much. Here is our owner list for tonight. The only drivers that made it to the filler were Felix Rosenquist, Linus Lundquist, and Rinus VK. So they are in the filler. Grab the old tablet, and we'll get this thing moving and grooving for the duck race. Here's our lineup for that, 1 through 31. So, again, appreciate everybody that filled the duck race, helped out with that. And good luck to all of you. Let's do this thing. We'll shuffle it up one time. We got a whole bunch of characters. That was kind of the other reason why I wanted to do a bigger race, because it's more fun to see all these characters at one time. So, good luck. Here we go. Quack. Go ahead and glove up for surgery here. We got Green Mohawk just out to a big lead. Well, I said that, and that sure cursed him, didn't it? That was like the kiss of death. Red 21. Just like sitting at the roulette table. Red 21. That is going to be Sam. Sam is going to take the duck race win. So congrats, Sam. You got Felix, Linus, and Rinus. If that isn't an interesting combination of drivers. So again, thanks to you guys for filling that. And like I said, we're going to get this show on the road. And I'm going to try to move things fairly swiftly, just knowing that I got an early morning tomorrow. So, good luck. These are the last 4 boxes that I have. Now, that doesn't mean that I won't get more or can't get more. Certainly can, as of the last time I checked the website. So, I don't know that I feel like... I feel like we've done enough of them, though, that... That's why I was going to hold on to one set, because I feel like we've done enough for now that maybe it's starting to run its course a bit. I don't know. Indy 500 postcard. But if you guys feel like you want to do more of this, you'll have to let me know. Because, like I said, I can certainly get more. Rinus VK, he was through the filler. Or at least last I checked, I could get more. So get these ready, and we'll open about half a box at a time here. Like I said, I'm going to try to move pretty swiftly through things. Unless it's an auto or a short print, I'm not going to take the time to stop and sleeve anything. I will do that tomorrow. I'll just leave a nice stack here for me to come back and work with after the card show, and I'll get caught up on it tomorrow. That'll also kind of help speed things along for you guys. And I'll tell you about the card show that I'm doing. Some of you have probably seen me posting about it, but it's the Grove City Card Fest in Columbus. If you're familiar with who Card Collector 2 is, Ryan Johnson, he is one of the primary promoters of the event. Him along with Brad Beeman, who is B Sports, and Brad and Ryan also promote the Shipshewana card show in Shipshewana, Indiana. So, certainly a big card show, and the way this show is set up, it's not ideal for me because I don't love super early, but it's just the way it's set up. So, the show's about 45 minutes from here, and they do... Real quickly, I'm going to mention on these triples, just like we've done in the past, I'm going to set all these to the side and then try to distribute them equally. We should have a lot, as usual, with these. And then any of the parallels or numbered, we'll do one random at the end, and it'll just be left, right, or middle as far as the name. And in that position, that's where all the cards will go to for that. Checkered flag, Scotty Mack. So, anyways, so the show tomorrow is from 8 to 3, and setup starts at 6:45 a.m. Marco Andretti checkered flag, and first autograph, Callum, going to Steve Teskey. There. Linus Lundqvist pit pass. Marcus Armstrong. Checkered flag. Pato, Joseph Newgarden, Scotty Mack. Promising prospects, James Rowe. Graham Rahal pit pass. Like I said, unless it's autographed or numbered, I'll deal with all the penny sleeves and top load and all that later. Triple with Dixon, McLaughlin, and Herta. And Callum Hedge Indy NXT. He is unlisted and will go to Storm Ghost. That one is a short print. 24/25. I would imagine that might be a good one to hang on to for a bit. I think HMD Motorsports, I think, is who Haley Deegan is with, too, if I'm not mistaken. Catherine Legg. She's going to be racing at Chicago tomorrow. Newgarden. Herta, Dixon, and Pillow. Indy 500. Checkered flag, Power, McLaughlin, and Lundquist. Drivers to your cars, Joseph Newgarden. Kind of call that a box hit, because we've been seeing about one per box. Those are cool. Marco Andretti. Power, Pillow, Lundgaard, checkered flag. And that's a black Romain Grosjean or Grosjean. I think I say Grosjean, and I think it's Grosjean. 7/10. Going to Tim Mays with the black border. That doesn't suck. Get a mag for that bad boy out. Sam won the filler. Sam was the filler winner. Very nice black border. I'm going to move Callum for that one. For an SSP. We'll take that. Pato, Scott, Joseph. And then a checkered flag, Pato, Scott, Joseph. Rinus VK, checkered flag. Pato, Joseph, and Scott. Santino Ferrucci, checkered flag. And then we got the profiles, Jack Harvey. Going to Tim Mays. These are typically no more than one or sometimes two per box. You don't see a bunch of those either, though. All right. I don't have too many people to talk to tonight. I was going to tell you guys, I was going to share right before we went live, I was trying to finish up getting things ready for the card show, but I was listening and watching to Checkered Flag Christian Rasmussen, listening and watching the third episode of Earnhardt on Prime. Kiffin Simpson. And, of course, the way they end, I don't know if you've watched it or not. I'm not going to try to go into a whole lot of detail, but everybody knows what's going to happen, so it's tough. It's tough wanting to watch the next episode when you know what, it's like watching a movie when you already know how the movie ends. Graham Rahal, blue to 99. Going to Stephen Roberts. And it's tough for me as a dad to watch. I haven't talked about this much, but it's tough for me to watch the struggles that Junior and Carrie and Kelly had. Checkered Flag Stingray Rob, because I don't understand I definitely don't understand the, at times, not really even wanting your kids around, or not understanding how to relate to them, or it's hard for me to comprehend that. Alexander Rossi going to Mark Springer. Everybody knows I was very close with my dad, and I like to think that I'm as closer with my kids than I was with my dad, and man, it's just hard to comprehend that part of it. Takuma Sato, Checkered Flag. And I'm sure it's also tough for people that were Dale Earnhardt fans. I was never a Dale Earnhardt fan. So it's easy for me, I think, on that side of things to feel a certain way. I think for those that might be Dale Earnhardt fans or were Dale Earnhardt fans, it might be tougher for those folks to see a side that, maybe he wasn't exactly what everybody thought, Theo going to Johnny Hinton. Yeah, for sure, Scott, for sure. That's the thing is Dale. I've always felt like Dale Jr. in his later years now. Dale Jr. is not going to sugarcoat it. He's going to give it to you straight. You know what I mean? And I think Kelly's the same way. Toby Sowery, Checkered Flag. That'll go to Storm Ghost. Dennis Hogger, Promising Prospect. Going to Billy Joe. So it's just, it's one of those things that, like I said, though, for me as a dad, it's hard for me to comprehend it. Rhinus VK, Checkered Flag, especially when it comes to the, that's a sweet Scott Dixon helmet hardware. When it came to the early on stuff where he didn't want to help Junior out at all, and I don't understand. My dad would have gone to the end of the earth to help me be successful. If he felt like he had or needed to step in and help or do whatever. You know what I mean? And I would do the same thing for my kids. You know what I mean? I'd give up the shirt off my back to make sure that they have. And so it's just hard. It's hard for me to comprehend and watch that and not feel a certain way. So, and like I said, maybe it makes me feel a specific way because I was never really a Dale Earnhardt fan to begin with. So, Checkered Flag, Ryan Hunter-Ray. But it's tough, because you don't want to talk bad about somebody, when they're gone. It's just, it's kind of tough. So, Augustin Canapino, blue to 99, going to Storm Ghost. Yeah, I don't know what his, the thing is I guess I'll never know what his demons were or what his, what he was struggling with. But certainly we've all had our things, I agree, Scott. That's a good perspective. Very good perspective. Probably a perspective I needed. So I appreciate you saying that for sure. Last auto for this box, Christian Lundgaard. Christian Lundgaard is going to go to Storm Ghost. Congrats, Storm Ghost. It's been wildly entertaining for me to see as we've been doing these IndyCar breaks, to see who's an IndyCar fan and learn, who's into this stuff, who's collecting this stuff, who's following IndyCar and all that. It's been fun to learn a little bit more of that side of things with some of you guys and what you're into. And yeah, same, Scott, same. Toronto. I was always a Jeff Gordon fan, and, and of course, people always wanted to pit the Jeff Gordon fans against the Dale Earnhardt fans, and I never really felt that way, per se. Ed Carpenter for Tim Mays, but I just wasn't a Dale Sr. fan, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like I disliked him. It was just more of, it just wasn't my guy, like... First time to get the Scott McLaughlin spot. Yeah, nice. Nice, Danny. Yeah, it's, it's... I don't remember certain things that happened. Like, I've enjoyed watching some of this stuff, and I didn't remember Dale Jr. being as successful as he was his rookie season and doing the things that he had done. I remember him winning a couple races, you know what I mean? But until tonight, I didn't remember him being as successful as he was. So... And then you got to think, like, man, what could Dale Jr. have been? I'm not saying this. I'm not saying this to pick on Dale Sr. But what could Dale Jr. as far as a career been if he had been involved with somebody like Rick Hendrick from an early on stage, like the way Jeff Gordon was. What could that have been like for Dale Jr. if he would have had sort of the Rick Hendrick experience all along? I mean, there's probably a lot of what ifs in that thought process. Tom Blomqvist, checkered flag. St. Louis, pit pass Rosenquist. If you guys need me to slow down for something, please tell me. I don't want to be speeding past stuff that you really need to see something specific or whatever, but Tristan Vaudier, checkered flag. And Alexander Rossi, drivers to your cars. That's going to go to Mark Springer. Yeah, I don't know either. You know, I don't know. It's a lot of what ifs, right? Like, and your heart just aches for Dale Jr. and Kelly and Kerry, and had to be so hard for them then and even now. You know, reliving a documentary about your dad and like Scott said, going through some of these things that aren't fun to talk about. Oh, this is cool. Dale, is it Coin? I'm not sure of the pronunciation. 7 out of 10 black. Team card going to Storm Ghost. Boris said, yeah. Got it? Good. Junior's such a different person. Hang on, I gotta fix this mag. I knew I was gonna move and it wasn't gonna stay where I wanted it. Junior's such a different person now too than he was back then. You know what I mean? Like, his maturity now today is and we all, you know, we're all like that. Nice hit, Storm Ghost. Yeah, I don't think Dale Sr. had many more left in the tank, if we're being honest. I would agree with that. Jack Harvey, checkered flag. I think he got that Daytona win, and that was, you know, right at the moment where it was kind of like, if you're ever going to get a win, it's now, you know. Checkered flag series card. And then we got Romain Grosjean or Grosjean, however you want to pronounce it. I think it might be Grosjean, like I said. Nice break for that spot. Going to Tim Mays. Not only you got the auto, but the out of 10 black to go with it. Yeah, for sure. Imagine if Junior would have had somebody there to kind of guide him along the way, you know, and be in his ear. Kelly was it. That was it, you know? Oh, yeah, I agree, Scott. I agree. Newgard and checkered flag. I remember watching that race with my dad. Yuri Vips, checkered flag. And our first numbered triple. We'll add this to the stack with the parallels. This one is Pillow, Award, and McLaughlin. Catherine Legg. Minus VK. and some of the things that I saw in those last couple of years of Dale's life, they always say that there's an indication that something's happening or that something's coming. It's like an intuition, I almost wonder if Dale felt a certain way and obviously nobody would ever know. Kiffin Simpson checkered flags going to Billy Joe. Chris Owens. That one's wild looking. Way different than any of the other photo-based cards like that. Minus VK. The pit pass. Will Power checkered flag. And how about a Will Power autograph right behind the checkered flag? I saw today, it looked like Will Power and Alex Pillow are having a little discussion. Will Power is going to go to Nate Gogol. I remember, that when Dale died, we were our group of guys. We were going to Dover each year in the fall, and I remember that happening. And and then of course you had 9/11. Like we had a lot of. I remember a couple of things happening there that. And that race at Dover that year, that fall that we went, was the first, it was the largest sports gathering or largest gathering of people post 9/11 in the U.S. Like there hadn't been any NFL games yet or any, nothing else. That NASCAR race at Dover was the biggest one after. I think they might have had NFL games maybe, but not as many people. Obviously, as I think Dover seated 150,000 or something like that at the time. I think they've taken out some seats now. Never saw him. Yeah. Well, it's a shame for sure, Scott. I kind of feel the same way. Little different situation, but I kind of feel the same way that, we were there when Junior won in 01. Yep. I kind of feel the same way with Michael Jordan. I wish I'd have got to see Michael Jordan play in person. Just one basketball game. Stingray Rob, checkered flag. David Malukas. Blue to 99 going to Steve Teskey. Sato. Checkered flag, Sato. Another Rossi. The profile. Going to Mark Springer. Yeah, I won't. I mean, I could probably record it and watch it. Theo Pucher. But with the card show, I won't get home till probably close to 4 o'clock, I'm betting. Which is why we're not posting tomorrow's break till 5. Because I'm not going to be home. Toby Sowery checkered flag. But yeah, I could record it. Mid-Ohio is a track I'd actually like to go watch a race at. It's not that far from me. It's only probably an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes max. So, Ryan Hunter-Ray, checkered flag with the debut card. And Lockie Hughes, promising prospect. He certainly seems to be promising. Scott Dixon, checkered flag, debut card. Joseph Newgarden, helmet hardware. Yeah, for sure. Will Power, checkered flag again. Pit pass Lundgaard. Colton Herta, checkered flag. Did NXT, do they race tomorrow too? Does anybody know? Scott or anybody? You guys know? Does Indy NXT, I think they race at Mid-Ohio too. Don't they? Because I really considered going to watch them. I don't know if they race today or if they race tomorrow before the regular. Going to Stephen Roberts. Graham Rahal. Scott McLaughlin, checkered flag. Of course, that's Newgarden. They'll race beforehand. Okay, that's what I thought. Checkered flag. And Tom Blomqvist. We'll go to Johnny Hinton. I'm pretty sure that when the trucks were going to Mid-Ohio, when Deegan was racing, that she said Mid-Ohio was one of her favorite tracks. Pretty sure. Still waiting on Haley to do something, you know? I don't know what. Iowa. And maybe she's not going to do much of anything. You know, it's just hard. I'm sure it's so hard. Catherine Legg. Let me ask you guys this, because I didn't see the Xfinity race at all, other than I flipped it on for a brief moment when there was about 7 or 8 laps to go, and Zilich had a pretty good lead, about a 3 or 3.5 second lead, and then of course somebody put it into the tires and they had to throw the caution, and I thought, well, that's over at that point, because I knew Van Gisbergen was in second, and I knew if he was given a shot to line up right next to somebody, that was all he needed was an opportunity. So let me ask you guys this, because I don't know how the end of the race played out at all. Was there anything to speak of, or did SVG just pass him and that was it, or... All right. Finally got black finite prism right. Oh, nice. Moved him out of the way a little bit. Checkered flag, David. Pit pass, Larson. Pillow. On that one. Augustin Canapino. Erickson, Dixon, Newgarden, Pillow, checkered flag, and Santino Ferrucci, blue out of 99. That's going to go to Candace. The black, gold, and blue shimmer for the rainbow. Nice. We'll keep an eye out. We'll probably do some prism next week, Scott, so stay tuned for that. Colton Herta, checkered flag. And Scott McLaughlin going to Danny Sanchez with the auto. Nice hit, Danny. Scotty Mack. Connor said he thought he would have raced him a little cleaner. I guess I'll have to watch a replay. Alexander Rossi, checkered flag. Callum. Minus VK pit pass. Used him up a little. Rasmussen, checkered flag. Blue, Marco Andretti out of 99. Going to go to Will Black. Scotty Mack. Then we got a Will Power. I think Connor learned something today from that. Yeah. That's kind of what I was wondering. I mean, sight unseen, that's what I was wondering is, did Connor learn, like, hey, don't assume at the end of a race that somebody's going to not touch you, or move you or nudge you or what, you know what I mean? Like, if it comes down to the last lap or two and you need to touch somebody else, I don't have a problem with that. If you're racing for a win is a win. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it personally. And I'm not an SVG fan. But again, I haven't seen what he did but I don't think you should wreck somebody to win. You know what I mean? I think there's a fine line there. Pillow, drivers to your cars, going to Storm Ghost. I think there's a fine line there of, like Dale Sr. used to say, just rattling their cage versus wrecking them. So, Rossi, checkered flag. And Colton Herta, 37 out of 75 on the auto, going to Chris Bonnet. Just good, aggressive, yeah. That's kind of what I'm wondering. And maybe Connor thought because he was in a team car, he was going to get a little, whatever. But, SVG and Xfinity is not there. He's only there for one purpose, and that's to win races. And these road courses, I think everybody can admit, the road courses are where he has a chance to win races. So if he's not in victory lane at the road courses, he's probably not in victory lane. So, what's the point in doing it if you're not winning, basically? But yeah, probably a good lesson for a young driver like Zilich to learn how to handle the situation. Yeah, he's on the pole tomorrow, but he's got to race against a little different crop of drivers tomorrow. Not saying that SVG isn't the favorite to win, which I believe he is. If somebody told me I had to bet on somebody, he would be the one I would bet on tomorrow. And you can best believe he's in my fantasy lineup for tomorrow. But going to Xfinity and beating the pants off those guys on a road course, a little different story than going to Cup and beating the pants off the Cup guys, in my opinion. So it won't be a walk in the park for SVG, I don't think. Power. But he's certainly the favorite in my book. New Garden checkered flag. Iowa. That's cool. Pit pass, Larson. Zilich said he made a mistake giving him the inside. Yeah, for sure. Checkered flag, Yuri. Yeah, if he gave him the preferred line, that's the mistake for sure. Blue, Ed Carpenter. Going to Tim Mays. Those are all good lessons, especially if Zilich is going to end up being moved to Cup next year. I don't know, if the rumors are true. Then some of these things are good lessons for him to learn now. Catherine Legg, checkered flag. We got Jack Harvey. Tim Mays. I still think these are super cool. This particular card, if you can get to the track and get a signature on these, that would look really, really nice. I kind of wish they'd have used this style card for the signature series. But, like I said, probably a cool card if you have access to drivers at the track. Kevin Simpson. New Garden debut. Christian Lundgaard checkered flag. Sophia Flourish, promising prospect. And looking like one of the minions with the glasses. He must be a bit of a character, I'm guessing. Colin Braun, checkered flag. St. Louis. Marco Andretti. Checkered flag, Colton Herta. Felix Rosenquist. Power. Connor Daly. And we got one of these minis. That's got Rinus VK and Marco Andretti on it. Marco Andretti is Will Black. Rinus VK is through the filler to Sam. So the way we've been doing this is a random. I've not been the one to tear one of these in half. I don't want to be the one to do it. So we'll do a random for that as well. Unless Will and Sam can sort it out here. I don't even know if those guys are both awake and watching at this hour. But otherwise, we'll just do a random. Joseph Newgarden debut. Oh, Catherine Legg autograph. This might be the first. I could be wrong. This might be the first Catherine Legg auto that I've pulled. Going to Candace. That's cool. Nice hit. Let's swap her out for Scott. We'll swap Candace for Danny. Let them arm wrestle over who gets to be on the card stand. Nice. Candace and Danny are on a roll. All right. Fourth and final box. We never did get one of those hot packs, so now would be a great time. I've seen them, heard about them. It would be cool to pull one of those hot packs. I'm not sure that we're going to do it, though. Detroit. Doesn't look like it, unfortunately. Yuri Vips goes to Dave. Dave. These packs come apart in the not easiest way sometime. And then other times they don't want to come apart at all. So then when you start laying them over here on the side, it's like they're just every which way. I did see a relic that had a piece of a brick in it, too. I thought that was pretty sweet. There's some cool stuff in this product that we've yet to see, but that I know exists. So, like I said, if I get the chance, and it seems like we have the interest, I'll probably grab maybe a few more to just do at least one more of these toward the end of the season. I don't know. But with everything being pushed back, it just seemed like now was a better time to do it. Willpower. That's pretty sweet. Rosenquist Pit Pass. Blomquist Checkered Flag. Got another blue triple. This time Pato, Colton, and Joseph. I've noticed with these podium cards, you get a lot of the same drivers on most of them. They're not always the same order, you know what I mean, first, second, but man, you get a lot of the same names often. Vadier, Checkered Flag. Romaine. guess I should say, too, if there's anything anybody's looking for that you need me to keep an eye out for at the card show, let me know. I always keep my eyes peeled. Elio Castroneves checkered flag. And Tom Blomqvist, 7 of 75. I think that's the daily double on Blomqvist, is it not? Yeah, we pulled the other the other Signature Series version. Going to Johnny Hinton. I probably won't get much of an opportunity to go walk around the room much because, like I said, this show is pretty busy from the jump. What they do is they open the doors at 8 and they have people. You got to pay to get into this card show. It's $5 from 8 to 9, and then after 9 o'clock, it's $2 to get in. So there's an early bird. You can pay a premium to get in that hour early. And I'll tell you what, it's busy right from the jump. Checkered flag, Will Power, goes to Nate. There's a lot of people that are quite fine with paying the $5 to get in there early. I'll tell you that. So, and it's a fundraiser for a high school band. The money that they get for the admission goes to the high school band is trying to do a fundraiser to raise. They're trying to get new equipment trailers. Joseph Newgarden, blue out of 99. Going to Brad. Yeah, I don't think $2 and $5 is out of line at all to get in. And I'll tell you what it does, in my opinion, is it keeps... Sometimes at the shows where people don't have to pay to get in, you get people walking in and all they're there for is to try to sell stuff. And they don't care if they're selling it to a dealer. They don't care if they're... they're just there trying to sell stuff, get money, fast cash, however they can. Which, is fine, but sometimes a certain amount of that, it sort of waters down the show, so to speak. So, Scotty Mack with the profile going to Danny. Beneath the Bucket is the technical name of the insert, even though I keep calling it a profile. So, like I said, I probably won't have time to really get around much the room, but certainly anything that walks up to my table, if anybody's looking for something specific, let me know. Pelot going to Storm Ghost. Drivers to your cars. I think that's the second Pelot. Like I said, kind of call that a box hit because you typically only get one per box. Hunter McElray. And Christian Rasmussen going to Johnny Hinton. That might be the second one of those. The second Christian. I gotta look quick. Maybe not. No. I thought there was another one. I guess not. At the Dallas. Yeah, I think that Dallas... Danny, isn't that Dallas show a pretty big card show, though? Like, how many days is that show and how many tables? I think it's multiple days and probably more tables. So this show that I'm talking about tomorrow is basically 200 tables. And essentially, we all fit in one really large gymnasium. Yeah, I was going to say Dallas, from what I've always heard about the Dallas show, yeah, there you go, 3 days, okay, that's what I thought. What I've always heard about the Dallas show is it's like probably one of the top 3 or 4 shows in the country. So that makes sense. What you're going to there, I would say, is probably much bigger than what I'll be at tomorrow. 500 tables, yeah. I think that's their vision. You know, I think they want to get to that point eventually. But they also want this to be like a 3 to 4 time a year show. So I don't think they want it to be quite the size of the National necessarily. But I do think they want it to grow into something bigger than what it is now. Yeah, exactly. That's exact. You said it right. Hit the nail right on the head. Sometimes that's too big. It's why I like the one show that I do in Southern Ohio at Chillicothe. It's only about 60 tables, and I really enjoy that show because I like the size of it. As a dealer, and even if you're a customer or buyer just coming to the show, it's one of those that you feel like you have time to get around the room, and you're not shoulder to shoulder with people fighting to get a look at a table. You know, like you have time to stop and talk to people. And yeah, I would imagine so. Christian Lundgaard, Armstrong. Yeah, I've never been. The biggest card show that I've ever been to is the one that I'm doing tomorrow, and that we did this same show back in May. Marcus Armstrong checkered flag. Ohio. So, yeah, certainly the biggest show I've ever been to, or shows. But I know of the National, I know the Dallas card show is one that I hear about all the time, and then the Pittsburgh, there's a big Pittsburgh show that's like 600 or 700 tables over a couple days. Ryan Hunter-Ray, going to Johnny Hinton, blue to 99. Yeah, I've never been to the National either. Unless the National comes back to like Cleveland or to Columbus or Cincinnati or somewhere close where I can just drive there for the day or maybe just spend one night or something, I probably will never go because I don't think it's for me and what I collect and all that sort of stuff. Checkered flag, Kyle Larson. And then Romain Grosjean or Grosjean again. That is certainly the second auto of him out of 75. And still we have the short print out of 10 on the stand there. Romain going to Tim Mays. Yeah, it would. I don't know that I would go to the National. I'm not going to say I wouldn't, but it would need to be the right situation for me to go. Siegel checkered flag. Stingray Rob. Going to JR. As a dealer, the National would probably be the very last show I would ever consider because what I take to the card shows is not high end enough to like you have to turn enough for a dealer to set up at the National. You're going to have to make a certain amount of money to even justify paying your costs, let alone making any money at all. You know what I mean? And I don't have high end stuff like that to justify. I mean, I've got some nice stuff. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like most of the dealers at the National, you're going to have to be dealing in stuff that's, you know, your value boxes are going to have to be $5 and $10 and not, you know, 3 for $1 like what mine are. And so like Fittipaldi checkered flag and promising prospect Ricardo Escato. Erickson. Yeah, and I've been working on changing that. I have been making a real effort to tell people and show that I have NASCAR stuff at the shows, to talk about it. I mean, you guys have seen the pictures. I've got my sign, and I have certainly noticed since the first card show that I ever did to now, I have more people coming up and talking about NASCAR cards, looking at NASCAR cards. Of course, I never brought any. The first couple shows I did, I never brought any NASCAR at all. So I've just been making an effort, and it's not going to happen quick. Getting people to talk about it, get more interested. Oh, we got something red here. We might have something interesting here to finish this bad boy off. Alex Palou, that's upside down. Luca. That's the numbers, right? 35/51 with the number and silver ink. That's sweet. It's got some issues along the edges because of that type of foil that they use, so it's definitely not one that would ever be a PSA 10 because of that. I'm not saying you shouldn't grade it, just saying it's not a PSA 10, that's all. That's sweet, though. Very cool. Congrats, Storm Ghost, out of 51. That's nice. Matches that red stand, too. When's mail sale for July? Saturday, Johnny. The mail sale will be this coming Saturday, a week from tonight. And it's the clearance sale. I'll get a post out about it probably Monday. I'll post info and details and all that. But it'll be Saturday night. Saturday night mail sale. All right, let me grab a quick drink, and I'll run through a recap, and then we'll do a random. 2 randoms, as a matter of fact. 2 randoms. So, to recap, these are the autos. Pretty nice selection. Catherine Legg, Romain Grosjean, Christian Rasmussen, Tom Blomqvist, Scott McLaughlin, Colton Herta, Will Power, Tom Blomqvist, Callum Hedge from NXT, short print to 25, Romain Grosjean, I think it's Grosjean, Christian Lundgaard, and Callum, I'm not even going to try on his last name. We had the Dale Coyne Racing black out of 10 team card. We got Romain on the black out of 10 as well. Going to Tim Mays. Tim had a nice break with that spot. Couple autos and an SSP. That'll work. And then the numbers auto for Luca. Going to Storm Ghost. That's really, really cool. Very nice. Especially, with, like I said, with that silver ink on there. That's nice. Cool card. All right. So, again, we're going to do a random for the triples that are numbers and parallels. And we're just going to do left, middle, right. And whatever it lands on, this whole stack of them. There's not a ton, but there's a few. It'll just go to that driver in that position associated. So that's how we're going to do that. And then we'll have to do either a Marco Andretti, Rinus VK random. So give me just a quick second here. And certainly appreciate everybody. I know most people have already gone off to bed and exited stage left, and that's quite all right. So if you rewatch this later or whatever, I appreciate everybody's support, everybody participating, everybody hanging out late at night, talking shop, all the stuff. Don't forget, tomorrow we got the National Treasures break, and there will be a bad monkey box. I'm still waiting on this thing to verify that I'm human. There will be a bad monkey box tomorrow. And it'll be all hits. Left, middle, right. And here we go. 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it's going to go to the middle. All the middle, which is the first place driver in the podium. So middle gets those. Let me just make a quick note so that as I'm sorting these tomorrow, I will remember. That's pretty easy to remember that it's the middle, but I'm also getting old and don't want to forget. And then we'll do the random for the Marco Andretti Rhinus VK. Marco Polo. Oh my gosh, that auto it auto corrected Andretti to I should have not cleared it because I should have showed you. It was ridiculous. It chopped it up so bad. Jeez. And Rhinus. VK. All right. There we go. We'll do this one 5 times. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that's going to go to the Rhinus VK spot, which is the filler, and it'll go to Sam. So that'll go to Sam with the VK spot. So congrats, Sam, on that one. And again, appreciate everybody participating, hanging out, all the things. Just appreciate the support no matter what level of support you're giving. I appreciate it. So hope to see everybody tomorrow. Like I said, should be a fun National Treasures break tomorrow with the 2 boxes plus a bad monkey box, which is going to be all hits. Hope to see you all then. Until then, have a great rest of your evening or morning, and we'll see you all next time.